So it's almost 2 days late now, so this isn't going to be a typical Raw review, is it? What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, not here with your May 2nd Raw review. I didn't get a chance to review Raw last night, and that's just a thing. I'm sure you guys have noticed, or maybe not noticed, but noticed for lack of videos, I guess. When I started this year, I was hoping to go balls to the wall with this channel, do Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and keep the Tackle and Ask the Phoenix series going. Obviously, there are times where there is nothing else to say other than life gets in the way. I didn't do SmackDown or NXT last week. I didn't get a chance to do Raw tonight. I had half a clipboard of notes, and then, you know, life just kind of took over. But I didn't want to let this one go because there's a lot of stuff coming off Payback, going to the next pay-per-view with it only being 3 weeks away. Excuse me, because that's super professional to do in a video. So what I want to do with you guys, just a little looser, a little less structure, just give you guys some post-Payback, post-Raw, preliminary Extreme Rules thoughts on the 5 or 6 big stories that are going on in WWE, both in and out of the ring. I'm going to start with the 2 that I don't like, because you guys know I try to be super positive, but there is some shit. There is some shit. The Jericho Ambrose thing. As much as I said, right up until Payback, I said, you know what, they haven't given us much of a story, but I'm at least looking forward to the match. And they had a good match at Payback. They did. I enjoyed it. It was good. And then we got the tweet from Jericho saying, you know, basically his run was over. And it's fine. He put Ambrose... Did he put Ambrose? I don't even remember who won the match. That's bad, isn't it? But he put the tweet out saying he was done with Raw for a while. And then Stephanie McMahon came out and told Ambrose that the Ambrose Asylum was canceled, and Jericho was back, and they fought in the entryway, and he burst. What was he calling? He was calling the potted plant Bruce or something like that. He burst the pot with Bruce over Ambrose's head. So that's gonna go. And not only is it going to go, they've pretty much telegraphed that they're not going to give us any more storyline. This is literally a talk show versus talk show. A talk show versus talk show story, and I don't get it, and there's no story, and there's a lot of times they can get away with doing no story, but what bothers me is you got 2 great in-ring talents like Ambrose and Jericho, and you got 2 talents in Ambrose and Jericho who could tell a better story if you gave them one. If it was 2 guys that were just really in-ring guys and that was it, I could accept that there's no real story. There's no story that I can bite into, you know? But it's just, they're just perpetuating this Ambrose Asylum versus the highlight reel. Somebody said to me, okay, Shane's going to come back next week and the Ambrose Asylum's going to come back, and then we're going to get the highlight Asylum. I thought that was quite clever. But I don't want it to actually happen. I don't want Jericho and Dean Ambrose to be the new odd couple. There's nothing to be gained from that. They should have just ended it at the pay-per-view. Let Jericho go off, do the Fozzy thing. Ambrose, pretty sure he's going to get tied in with Roman again. But we're going to get into that later on in this video. The whole Goldust and R-Truth thing, the potential of Golden Truth, I was for it initially because I remember back in the day, Goldust and Booker T, you know, they pulled off the odd couple thing quite well. You got a lot of good comedy out of it. But then you had Goldust pursuing R-Truth forever and ever and ever, and you figure, okay, he's going to pursue him forever and ever and ever. R-Truth's eventually going to begrudgingly give in. He's going to start admitting that he's having fun. They're going to be a cool comedy team for a while. But they dragged it out way too long. And then Goldust got hurt feelings, and then R-Truth was chasing him for a while. And it really just... It became, I don't want to say it went from being funny to being awkward, it just went from being funny to being boring, if that's a thing. And then, you know, Golden Truth was put into the tag team tournament, and Goldust said that he wanted to be in the tournament, but he didn't want to team with R-Truth for reasons, so we got Goldango. So now R-Truth is doing tit for tat like a jilted lover, and now he's got Tyler Breeze, who's a heel. And he's got the selfie stick that's an actual stick, and it's just, the thing is, WWE likes these stupid, like, odd couple, battle of the gimmicks type storylines. What scares the hell out of me is this is going to be a match at Extreme Rules. I'm not saying that I've read that anywhere. Like to telegraph the way WWE does their bad comedy. This will probably be a match at Extreme Rules, and it will take away a spot from something else that should be at Extreme Rules. Now, here's the thing: Goldust is great for his age and for his longevity and all that sort of thing. He's great. Truth is a fucking fantastic athlete for a guy that's pushing 50, whatever he is. Tyler Breeze, great talent, totally wasted. And I will say the same thing about Fandango, even though that's not a very popular opinion. So how do you have 4 guys, 2 guys with the amazing experience that Ron Killings and Dustin Rhodes have, and 2 up and coming sort of young, I don't want to say green guys, but like 2 guys with the amount of potential and exuberance and possibilities. Like, how do you throw all 4 of them into one scenario and have it be this shit? I don't know. I don't understand. I want them to stop. I don't know. I don't mean this in a bad way, because like I say, I think he's impressive as hell, and especially for his age and Roddy Raw. But I don't really know what Goldust is doing in the WWE right now. Truth has his place. Tyler Breeze, they debuted him on SmackDown. And as much as I stick up for SmackDown a lot, there's a lot of really good stuff to be found on SmackDown. Sometimes the best matches of the week are found on SmackDown. That's just a thing. But it doesn't change the way WWE and the general public see SmackDown. So when they debuted Tyler Breeze on SmackDown, that told you all you really needed to know about what they thought of him. Fandango got a great start. Went to WrestleMania. Debuted against... what the fuck was it? Chris Jericho. Yeah, brain not functioning, but I don't get it. Big E debuted against somebody else that same year, and his debut was at WrestleMania, and now he's in the New Day, which is one of the best things on Raw. Fandango, not so much. Just make him Johnny Curtis, because super creepy guy, good at being creepy. He could be a heel. It's all good. The United States Championship situation is one of those inside the ring and outside of the ring type things. Ryback jobbed to Callisto again at Payback, and I made my feelings quite clear on Ryback. If you want to go back to my last immediate video about the Fantastic 5 morons of the WWE, I spelled that out quite clearly. Ryback loses again. Callisto looks strong, I guess. The stronger Callisto looks as... Why are there notifications going on right now? Why is that a thing? The stronger Callisto looks as a singles champion, the more and more concerned I am for Sin Cara, honestly. So when they announced that there was going to be a number 1 contender... really wish my brain would work. When they announced that there was a battle royal on Raw for a new number 1 contender, I thought for a brief moment they might have had Sin Cara win this to remind us that Sin Cara is still a thing, have an interesting... sort of Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, we're tag team partners, but we're fighting over a singles title type story. I would have signed on for that for definite. And then you see Ryback in the graphic, and it's like, okay, is he going to plow through a bunch of people just to get Callisto again and get put on the pre-show again? Because WWE is going to say, fuck you, Ryback, again. But then he wasn't actually in the match. And we didn't know why at the time, but he wasn't in the match. Rusev won the battle. Later on, listening to radio shows and reading dirt sheets and whatever, apparently Ryback asked to be removed from television until his contract disputes with WWE can be, reconciled, reviewed, renewed, whatever the case may be. From a lot of what it sounds like he's saying in a lot of his interviews, if he does end up parting ways with WWE, it doesn't even sound like he's going to be crying about it at this point. I will say, one of the funniest things to kick off Payback on the pre-show was spoiled it right there, Ryback doing the CM Punk entrance in Chicago. Not only that, not only taking a jab at the Chicago fans and the CM Punk fans, but also, because he's stuck on the pre-show again, and we know how he feels about that, he's got a weightlifting belt that says the pre-show stopper, which popped me, legitimately. I'm not gonna lie. Their match... on the kickoff of Payback and at WrestleMania, even though a lot of people couldn't get into the building, just ask Kayfabe, the matches were underrated, I think. I'm not going to come up here and say they were the best on the card, but I don't think a lot of people expected a lot out of Ryback and Callisto, because it is, once again, and this is becoming a theme in this video, it is that odd couple, that odd pairing, that you think is either going to be really cool and interesting, or totally flop. I don't think it totally flopped. It was interesting. The fact that Callisto was able to actually do anything to Ryback is one of those things that kills the suspension of disbelief in wrestling. But even that can be a little bit fun, you know. You can have a little masked Daniel Bryan story, if you will. Now, Rusev winning the Battle Royal opens up 3 possibilities. Now, they said he's the #1 contender for the United States Championship. They didn't specify whether it was at Extreme Rules, and there's no graphic for it on the Extreme Rules website. I checked before doing this, you know, Doomy Clipboard of Doom and all that. I'm going to assume that it's at Extreme Rules. I just am, for the purposes, at the moment. So there's 3 things that really can happen here. As far as I'm concerned, as far as creatively, whatever, Rusev and Callisto, could they have a great match? Possibly. Rusev's a great athlete. Callisto's a different kind of great athlete. They could have a great match. They could have a great competitive match. One could win, one could lose, and it could be as simple as that. Or the League of Nations just split up on SmackDown. Because, you know, important stuff happens on SmackDown. I'm shooting myself in the foot with that comment. Could you have a storyline where each one of the members of the League of Nations, former League of Nations, I should say, go for the United States Championship? They each go at it with the whole, we're going to show Americans how it's done, we're going to steal their belt, as they typically do when they're, you know, doing the foreign gimmicks. They could each take a turn trying to get the title from Callisto, and each time one of the other former team members could cost them the match, and then they just go destroy each other, and Callisto does something else. That could be a story that could play out for a couple of weeks. Hopefully they wouldn't drag it out, but whatever. WWE could be looking at Rusev as just another giant for Callisto to beat. Let's be real, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. WWE really is trying to make Callisto that next Rey Mysterio, that next luchador, smallest dog in the fight type guy. So Rusev could just be the next in a long line of heavyweights that he's going to beat. The next one will probably be Mark Henry. Why? I don't know. Professionalism, I know, guys. I'm sorry. Trying to block out the notifications that are happening over here. You know, if that's the case, then I could see them doing silly things with like Callisto versus the Big Show or some stupid thing like that. But Extreme Rules is 8 days before the return of John Cena. So, as I can't claim credit for this idea, I heard it on OKFabe's podcast, which you guys should all check out. If you're not subscribed to him already, the guy's great. While I'm at it, everybody should go check out General Jerry, because he's great and funny, and I enjoy his videos even though we agree on almost nothing, because you can do that in the YWC. But I'm getting off point. What you could have at Extreme Rules, you could have Rusev beat Callisto, get the rematch out of the way immediately the next night on Raw, and then the following week on Raw, you get the return of John Cena, and fuck you, Rusev, back to the bottom of the line you go. I'm not saying that would be a good thing. I'm just saying it's funny. He took it off of Rusev a long time ago. Now he's back. By the way, I'm John Cena. I'll take that. Thank you very much. Now, would that be a fuck you to Rusev? Do I want to see Rusev get buried? No. I do, however, if they're going to go this route, I really do want to see the return of the John Cena United States Open Challenge. Because while I give John Cena a lot of shit, and a lot of us in the YWC give John Cena a lot of shit, that was doing stuff. It was a way to be random. It was a way to showcase a lot of new talent. You could have, you know, a respectful match between John Cena and Apollo Crews. You could have, I don't know, you could do pretty much anything. You could have John Cena, Cesaro. You could have Sami Zayn, hey, I'm on the roster full time now. How about we have another match where I don't throw my arm out on the way to the ring? You could have him versus Baron Corbin, which actually, come to think of it, John Cena versus Baron Corbin could be interesting. I would love to see the Deep Six or the End of Days hit on John Cena. Wouldn't you? But there's a lot of cool potential possibilities in the United States Championship tournament. The IC title is a little bit more clean cut. We had the Zayn versus Owens match at Payback, which was great. I will give it to them. With all the hype I've heard from indie fans, ROH fans, people that are fans of smaller companies, you guys know I admit all the time I'm not up on indie stuff. I I don't really try to be up on indie stuff, but I admit that I'm ignorant in that regard. From the 1 or 2 times we saw them fight in NXT, I expected more from this match than we got. Not to say that it wasn't a great match, but it was missing something. And it's really not fair for me to say that because I couldn't tell you what that something is. But Kevin Owens gets the decisive victory over Sami Zayn, bullies Byron Saxton into an interview, invites himself to go on to commentary saying, I'm going to watch this next match very closely because the next, whoever wins this match is going to have to deal with me because I want my Intercontinental Championship back. Now, Kevin Owens on commentary at the pay-per-view for the IC title match was great. Him taking the piss out of all the other commentators on a pay-per-view stage was great. But not only that, take Payback and take Payback and take the Raw the next day. You've got Owens in a very, very highly promoted match. You've got Owens staying for the second segment for a title match to do commentary. You've got him opening up Raw with all the not all the McMahons, but Shane and Stephanie. And then you've got him in a great match with Cesaro. And then you've got him immediately built up with this 4-person situation with Miz and Owens and Sami Zayn. So they've pretty much laid the groundwork. We know what we're getting at Extreme Rules. They just haven't announced it yet, and that's a fatal 4-way for the Intercontinental Championship match. Miz, Zayn, Owens, and Cesaro. Now, I still don't like the fact, and I know people get me on first day with my new tongue. People get on me about this all the time. I like Cesaro. I do. He's a fantastic athlete. Don't give him a microphone, but he's a great fucking athlete. I don't like the fact that, hey, you've been injured for a year, we miss you, so we're going to immediately throw you into a title picture. I don't. It's cut and paste. It's knee-jerk reaction. Hey, the fans like this guy, let's put a belt on him. Now, what I do like is taking a rivalry that people are already invested in, like Zayn and Owens, and infusing that into the Intercontinental Championship thing. Kevin Owens coming out and saying, look, I never got my one-on-one title shot. And he's still not going to get his one-on-one title shot because this is going to be a fatal 4-way. And all this indie darling, this utopia of indiness is all revolving around The Miz, who along with his wife Maurice is killing it as your heel Intercontinental Champion. I really, really hope the past couple of weeks have sort of sedated some of the people that have made it their mission to say that The Miz doesn't contribute anything to the WWE. Because at this point, you're just full of shit, aren't you? I'm looking forward to this match. This is so far, even though it's not officially been announced, this is already, right now, my favorite match going into Payback. Not just because I'm a mark for The Miz, but because all these guys are going to work their asses off. We're going to get to see Maurice, which is a bonus, and it's just going to be great. You've got 3 great indie workers that have cult followings of their own, flavor. Different people like Owens to Zayn to Cesaro. They all bring something different to the table. And you got Miz, who is the antithesis of that, the reality TV star, right from the WWE mold, but somehow his just being there pisses everybody off, and it's so good. And they're letting him be more legit and more aggressive in the ring at the same time. So he's adding a little bit of legitimacy to his character, which he hasn't had in a long time. Let's face it, he's been hosting Miz TV for the past year and a half at least, and not doing anything really of relevance other than starting bickering matches between other people. So you've got him with a purpose, you've got him with your secondary title, and you've got him, intermingled with all these, and I say this in a positive way, all these indie darlings, which can't help but grab all of our attention. Everybody wins. Now, me personally, if Miz is going to lose the title, I want it to go to Owens. I am a lot more realistic, and I think we're going to see what we saw on Raw this week, and that's Sami Zayn standing over everybody else holding that belt above his head. And I can't lie to you guys, I wouldn't exactly have my feelings hurt by that either. Speaking of getting hurt, segue, because I'm a horrible person, the tag team championship situation. We had the #1 contender tournament finals at Payback. Well, kind of. We saw that ridiculous, horrendous spot that they did with Enzo where he hit his chest and hit his face and hit his head on the ring and all crumpled down, and everybody's done an analysis of it in some way, shape, or form. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit here and belabor the fact that this guy fucked himself up pretty damn hard. What I will say is it's really disappointing because these guys are brand new to the main roster. I think they were going into a program with the Dudleys after this. That seems to be where everything was going, because it wouldn't make any sense for them to go against the New Day right away, because their appeals are so similar. They're two great charismatic face acts, and to have them go against each other, I think they would have burnt themselves out as far as exposure goes. Now, to have the Vaudevillains win and have Enzo and Cass go and finish off what felt like a very unfinished rivalry with the Dudleys going into Extreme Rules, you know that Enzo and Cass would have had a tables match with the Dudleys at Extreme Rules if Enzo hadn't gotten injured. I really do want to say, you know, best wishes to Enzo. I hope we as a community and them as a company get him back as soon as possible, because he is entertaining as hell. You know, real as real can be. I'm like an A-cup tit. You might not like me, but at least I'm myself. It's good. Enzo's good. Cass on the microphone this week on Raw, it was one of those, okay, you did all right for a guy whose partner isn't here and usually does most of the talking. Okay, no, Cass is impressive as fuck, but he's not the microphone guy of the pair. We're going to get the Vaudevillains versus the New Day at Extreme Rules. The Vaudevillains gimmick is just not getting over on the main roster. It's not doing anything for me. Whatever little it did for me in NXT is gone now. I have to reiterate once again, it's not to do with anything to do with these guys in the ring. I know, in the ring they're technically sound, their gimmick is unique, it's just not translating to a big audience, and it's losing its translation to me as an individual viewer if I want to take a personal note. But at the same time, their gimmick gives a whole lot of material to the New Day, who are going to rip them between now and Extreme Rules. What you have to think of with Enzo's injury is, first of all, you want the guy to get better. Second of all, the guy that loses is Cass, because I don't think he's going to get a singles push. Farther down the list is you gotta think that they've been holding back the Dudleys for this rivalry with Enzo and Cass. So what do they do with the Dudleys now? A lot of very unique scenarios, and in the wings you've got Epico and Primo coming back. The Greetings from Puerto Rico. I really hope that's not their new tag team name. I'm just putting that one out there. I mean, even if you had you know, some cross promotion with NXT, had, you know, the New Day go up against American Alpha or something along those lines. Bring Blake and Murphy to the main roster if you have to, if it means I get to see Alexa Bliss. But yeah, this losing Enzo at Payback hurt a lot of things. It hurt their tag team division. It hurt a lot of what I'm assuming they were going to do creatively. Because let's look at it for a second, guys. Vaudevillains versus the New Day. New Day would have won. Now you get Dudley Boys versus Enzo and Cass, potentially in a tables match. If you're doing that on a pay-per-view as well, you could call that a #1 contenders match. You know, have the Dudleys win, hold back Enzo and Cass just a little bit more. They go up against the New Day one more time. Enzo and Cass save them from some diabolical weapon bullshit. And then you've got the New Day showing their respect to Enzo and Cass by giving them a respectful, straight up handshake, finally they get their shot at the titles type deal. The whole time they were in NXT, we thought they were going to do this. NXT, they were held off and held off and held off and held off. And every time they got held off, it's like, oh, it's going to feel that much better when they get the titles. And then it got to a point where it's like, oh, they've got another title shot, but they're not going to win. I hope they don't repeat that mistake on the main roster. And I'm sure when Enzo gets back, his pop will be twice as huge. Let's just think about this guy. The mere fact that they debuted right after WrestleMania, they got a huge pop. When they were going up against the Dudleys, they were getting huge pops. Now you got that rule that I was talking about a second ago, where, you know, if you want to get popular, get injured, Enzo's going to come back from this. He's going to be like the scrappy dog in the fight, and he's going to be the guy that beat his concussion. And these guys are going to be fucking huge. These guys are going to be the hood ornament of your tag team division, I predict, when Enzo and Cass get back. But I mean, we got the tag team match at Extreme Rules between the Vaudevillains and the New Day. There's no stipulation on it as of yet. There's always the possibility the Dudleys could interfere. There's always the possibility they could put a stipulation on this later on down the road. I want to have a situation where, you know, these two really like 1920s old school guys hear that there's a hardcore stipulation put on the match, and then they protest, and this is not how it was done back in the day. They could play that up, but again, that goes back to the gimmick that I don't really like, so I don't know how you handle that. Should be a good match. the vaudevillains will be sort of like the straight man for New Day's comedy, and that's the best contribution I can really expect from them at this point. The Women's Championship. Let's talk about the Women's Championship. I said before Payback that both Ric Flair, and this is going back to the Five Morons video again, isn't it? But both Ric Flair and Bret Hart were pissing off the company. Because Ric Flair accidentally told Natty to go kill herself and was suspected of being drunk in an airport, and Bret Hart went on some other interview saying that he was only there for his niece and doesn't give a fuck about the WWE, which was great. Now, they had a great match. I said, this is one of those scenarios where the match was great. I don't really care about the storyline, but the match was so good, it carried me through. It carried me through because the match itself had me captivated. Where the story was lacking and did not have me captivated, the match itself did. And then they threw the swerve in at the end. They did the Montreal Screwjob, and it's like, oh, really? A lot of people got mad. But here's the thing, and here's the thing that I get a kick out of it. Because I watched, right before it died, I watched WCW very casually. I watched it with almost a smirk on my face because I was the WWE guy and WCW was just this other thing that was over there. But I do remember when Charles Robinson was doing the Little Nate thing, because it's one of those things that's so pathetic you almost have to laugh. You know, him coming out in the Charles Robinson tights and the feather jacket thing, just like Ric Flair, being his twin. It was almost creepy how funny it was. But you know, they've never really addressed it on WWE TV, and I think that's cool. I think the whole Little Nate, you know, Ric Flair having Charles Robinson in his back pocket, the fact that they were able to combine that story with the Montreal Screwjob, whenever they redo a spot, like when Kurt Angle and whoever it was tried to redo the spot in TNA because Earl Hebner was the referee, so they redid the Screwjob, and everybody knew that they were doing the Screwjob. They never mentioned it, but Earl Hebner had a referee shirt because all the fans were chanting, you know, "You screwed Brett." Earl Hebner had a referee shirt that said "Damn right I did," and I thought that was great because it's a callback. It's one of those things, it's an Easter egg, it's a little bookmark for those that have been watching a long time. The fans that have been watching a long time are like, yeah, I remember that. You know, that's something just for them. Now, you managed to take two of those stories, cram them into one spot on a pay-per-view. Now, is it diabolical? Absolutely. Is it diabolical? Absolutely. Is it a bullshit finish? Was it cool to see Natty and Bret Hart do stereo sharpshooters at the end? Yes, but I will agree, once again, with Good Mic Work, who said that they should have played this up like it was a legit Screwjob again. Have them walk off, have, you know, somebody spit at somebody, have somebody break a monitor, mimic the actual Screwjob and all the things that happened then. And it could have been cool. The next night on Raw, having them go face-to-face, you know, Roddy Rah, and have Natalya put the sharpshooter on Ric Flair was even better. It made me smile a lot. To have not Triple H, Stephanie in the back afterwards going quasi-face for a second or two, saying not only are these two girls going to have a submission match at Extreme Rules, but that Ric Flair is going to be barred from ringside, makes it really interesting because some submission matches are no DQ, so there's no such thing as a shitty finish anymore. We're finally going to get rid of Ric Flair. Maybe this was their way of writing Ric Flair off TV in general. But you know you're going to have another great match with these girls. You've got Ric Flair and you've got Ric Flair's daughter, and you've got a daughter of the Hart family. Technically, you know they're going to put on a masterclass. Now, do I like the story? No. Did I pop for the Little Nate Chicago Screwjob? Absolutely. It made me laugh. It made me laugh in the "oh my god, I can't believe they did that" kind of way, if that makes sense. I'm not laughing at it trying to tell you guys that it was good. I'm laughing at it like, oh my god, I can't believe they did that. But we're gonna make up for that in 3 weeks at Extreme Rules, where we're gonna get this amazing submission match out of these two girls, and then hopefully some other people can get back in the mix. Speaking of people getting back in the mix in the women's division, because nobody else has been on TV while these two have been fighting. We lost Sasha to something. Becky was injured after WrestleMania. Paige is sort of disenchanted with the company as well. She's kind of pulling a page out of Ryback's book, so I don't know what the deal is with her right now. But the one person that has really stepped up to the plate is Emma. And Emma planted the seeds several weeks ago for this feud that she's got going on with Becky Lynch right now. it's really cool. The two girls had a great match on Raw. I hope this becomes a match at Extreme Rules, sort of a mid-card women's match, if that makes sense. If you think about the women's title match as the women's main event, we can have a women's mid-card. Now, what I like about this is it's the first person in a long time that we've focused on that wasn't just a product of the Divas Revolution. Because, as Stephanie McMahon said, we've passed the Divas Revolution, we need to move on to the Women's Evolution, which is absolutely true. And a little bit of a pun with her husband being part of Evolution. But, you know, there were certain women for a little while there that could do no wrong. Because, even though Paige was also from NXT, you really saw Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky as the faces of the Revolution. So they were the ones that got all the TV time, and deservingly so. So Emma is the first one in a while that's gotten a really big chance to shine, who wasn't given that, you know, blank slate, come on in, you can do no wrong type thing. So for her to have a chance to showcase this amazing heel persona that she's had in NXT for a while, on the Raw stage, and go up against somebody like Becky, it's great, because it sort of mimics what she was doing with Bayley in NXT, as far as the I'm going to show you that being the good girl that everybody likes doesn't get you everything. And she sort of said similar things to Becky, and it's kind of like we're mimicking NXT a little bit, but Hot Heel Emma in the title picture on Raw is not something I will shy away from whatsoever. Get Sasha, get Paige back in there, get something cooked up between Paige and Sasha, make Paige babyface again, have Sasha be the cool heel that we know she can be, have that exist over here, have Becky versus Emma over here, have a mini 4-woman tournament for the next number one contender, have them go against whoever wins out of Natty and Charlotte. You've got a continuous storyline with those 6 women that can last you up until SummerSlam if you really want it to. There's a lot of potential in the I almost said the women's division, and all that potential is realized mostly because none of it has anything to do with Naomi. Oh, and fuck yes. And Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles ended with a Roman Reigns victory at Payback, and we were all surprised. Oh yes. No, we weren't really at all. Everybody's pissed off that Finn Balor didn't debut. I'm not. Because you needed to have the match we had on Raw this week, the 3-on-3. Because when you get to the 4-on-4 that we know is coming, it's going to be a different dynamic. But right now, you've got the Usos, who are sort of latched onto Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, who's like a babyface, but showing heel tendencies, but the company wants him to be a babyface, but we're all booing him, so he's a heel. So he's in that tweener area. And you've got AJ, who, even if he turns fully heel, is still going to get cheered along with his buddies in the, you know, for lack of a better term, Bullet Club. So you've got tweener and tweener. So what's going to happen is when you get Finn Balor into that mix, you're going to have Dean Ambrose on the other side. It's written in the stars, as the song says. So you got tweener, tweener, tweener versus tweener, 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 and then you throw a super big baby face on both teams. The crowd that already doesn't know what to do is going to not know what to do even farther. But the one thing that I will say, funnier than Ryback trolling the CM Punk fans, funnier than the Chicago Screwjob by the Flares, is Roman Reigns punching AJ Styles in the dick at Payback to get himself disqualified. Oh yes. Now, I do like that they played up the dynamic between these two that WWE is putting together is really convoluted, but it works. At least it works for me. Now, you've got this dynamic where Roman Reigns isn't really insulting AJ Styles. He's like, you know, look, man, I know where you came from, but I'm me, and I'm going to win. AJ Styles basically doing the same thing. I've been all over the world. I bring all these credentials, I respect you, you respect me. Roman doesn't respect his friends, and AJ Styles is, I'm guessing, kind of indifferent to the Usos, who are just there backing their cousin. But Roman Reigns, I will say, as much as people like to shit on Roman Reigns losing his shit on Raw as soon as he saw AJ Styles take a chair to one of his cousins was the Roman Reigns that I've wanted to see for a long time. If that's the Roman Reigns... if that's the Roman Reigns we get at Payback, then shut up and take my money. That's a thing. I know it's not cool. We're not supposed to like Roman Reigns. It's in the book. But if the Roman Reigns we saw on Spaz, with that toss powerbomb that he did to AJ through the announce table, for one thing, for the fair bit of athleticism that he showed all the way through Payback and all the way through Raw. Really, really good 48 hours for Roman Reigns. That's just my opinion. But it's interesting, and obviously this one-on-one Extreme Rules match is going to be a 3-on-3 scenario. Now, who's going to tip the cap? Depends what Ambrose is doing at Extreme Rules. If Jericho takes out Ambrose, then Roman is kind of fucked at Extreme Rules, isn't he? Extreme Rules, where we know off the start, because we did the whole McMahon thing, where he got counted out. Oh, no countouts. And then he got disqualified. Oh, no disqualification. We know going in that this is a no disqualification match. Anything's going to happen. We know that the Usos are going to get involved. We know that the, heretofore not renamed yet Bullet Club is going to get involved. This is, and I will say this is a missed opportunity by the WWE if they don't debut Finn at Extreme Rules, because this is almost the door kicked wide open for him. But what I also will say is everybody's getting really, really hyped up for the first time seeing the Demon entrance on the main roster. If Finn Balor is heel, if Finn Balor is there with AJ Styles in the Bullet Club with that whole gang and whatever, unpopular as this may be, I don't want the Demon Finn Balor to come out, because I don't think it'll fit. The Demon Finn Balor is, to steal a line from Baron Corbin, the Demon Finn Balor should be, if he's coming to WWE, to be on his own, to be the lone wolf, to pull Crow Sting up in the rafters type bullshit. If he's going to come in, he's going to join this kick-ass team of guys that are going to run the shop, then he needs to be the rock star douchebag Finn Balor that he is week to week on NXT. I just think it makes more sense. And that Finn Balor versus Dean Ambrose is a thing that needs to happen. Yeah, anyways, guys, like I said, this is in no way a typical Raw review of mine. I just wanted to tap on some of the stories that are going on in WWE right now and why I'm excited for them. You guys know me. If you don't enjoy the show, I'm not going to argue with you. I do enjoy the show. I do my best to explain to you guys why I love it and share some of my enthusiasm. And yes, honestly, I do hope some of it rubs off, but that's not me saying you have to agree with me at all. This is a random collection of thoughts that I threw together about 5 minutes before I popped this camera on. I hope you liked it. Sorry I didn't get a Raw review out last night, but as I say, life gets in the way sometimes. Trying to get back on the more traditional Spaz Phoenix schedule, but we'll see how it goes. And that's really all I can say. I do encourage you to go back and check out my 5 morons of the WWE video. I really do encourage you to go back about a week or so. Check out the RIP vid that I did for China, because the more I go back and sort of see what people are saying about it and listen to bits of it back again, I really do think I did a pretty good job with that video. People seem to like the, what's it called? The Google Live that Guapo Kristen and I did for Payback. All things being equal, that will be a thing that happens again in the future. And last but not least, please go back and listen to the April edition of Ask the Phoenix and add your questions down in that comment section below if you want to be involved in the Q&A at the end of May. That's it. I'm out of breath. I'm out of things to say, so I'm going to say I'm Spaz Phoenix, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Tell me what you think about Payback, Raw, and where we're going for Extreme Rules. Talk to me about the new McMahon scenario and how you think that's going to play out, these matches, these title scenarios, and anything else you want right down there in the comment section below. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye.